Hello and welcome to a brand new episode of Coming Distractions brought to you by the Nerdpocalypse podcast. I'm your host, Jay. All right, guys, we're back. This time we're going to discuss 2022's Black Adam. This is starring Dwayne "The Rock" Johnson, Pierce Brosnan, Aldis Hodge, Noah Centineo, Sarah Shahi, and Marwan Kenzari. So this is directed by Jaume Collet-Serra. I apologize if I'm getting your name incorrect. He has directed such classics as 2005's House of Wax starring Paris Hilton, The Unknown or Unknown starring Liam Neeson, Nonstop starring Liam Neeson, Run All Night starring Liam Neeson, and The Commuter starring Liam Neeson, and of course Jungle Cruise in 2021 starring The Rock. Just want to give a little bit of background before we get into the quality of this film. Just thought I would mention that. Okay, so this movie is based on the character Black Adam, who was a slave, so I've heard, and then it turns out he becomes a superhero 5,000 years ago. Things go left. He gets buried or entombed, and then he is woken up in the modern day, and that's where we find ourselves. Micah, what did you think of this movie?
I didn't think we could get superhero movies this good in the year of our Lord 2005. The problem is that this didn't come out in 2005. It came out in 2022. And look, this movie's not bad. It's not, but it's not good either. It in my opinion, this movie kind of disrespects the audience. If you just want to go in there and watch like stuff happen, then this is the movie for you, right? If you are still enthralled by The Rock and you want to see Dwayne Johnson like be a badass, like he's being a badass. But in terms of dialogue, the dialogue is really what gets it for me. Like, the story is not good. Most comic book stories aren't good, but at least the characters have interesting banter between each other. Right. The dialogue in this movie is really, really bad in certain spots. The structure of the film is it's super predictable. It's just a pastiche of a bunch of other comic book movies, which is fine if you can do it well, but they don't do it well. They just kind of do it. And I'll start off with a couple of things that I really liked, right? Like the best thing about this movie is Pierce Brosnan as Dr. Fate. He's great. No notes. Okay. He's phenomenal. He's having a blast. Okay. Dwayne Johnson's Black Adam, he has a little bit of a character arc. It's about as high as a speed bump, but it's there. Okay. Right? like he goes from like fuck everybody and I'm gonna kill everybody to like I'm gonna kill everybody, but like I care about some people, I guess. So it's, I can't say this movie is a disappointment, because it was what I thought it would be. A paint by numbers, like it's mass produced. It's spam. It's the spam of comic book movies. Like if you need sustenance, you can eat spam. You can fry it up, you can season it, but it's spam. It's not good, but it's not bad. It's fine. I'll get into some stuff that I really didn't like about the movie after you give me your thoughts about it.
I didn't like this movie, but I didn't hate it. But I thought it was incredibly mediocre, which is a word you're probably going to hear a lot from a lot of reviews, I think. It's about where I expected as far as the quality. I agree with you. The dialogue is awful. Like, it's really awful. To me, the dialogue is similar to the sort of juvenile dialogue of the first Aquaman movie. I could have peed on it.
That's exactly what I was going to say. If you liked Aquaman, this is on par with Aquaman.
I think it's worse. I think it's far worse than Aquaman, but I can see why you would say that. I would say
I don't think it's far worse. I think it's below Aquaman, but not too far. Aquaman's pretty fucking dumb, right? Like, not just the character, the movie, right?
It is.
But it's in the hierarchy. Like, it's not Wonder Woman 84. That movie stinks. Okay?
Oh yeah, no, it's not that bad. Like,
it's not that bad.
Okay,
it really is.
I did not have a great time with this, and I definitely groaned and or rolled my eyes in many a section. But no, it is not as bad as Wonder Woman 84. That I can assure you. If you think like, whoa, it's that bad, it's not that bad. It's not that bad. It's actually competently done. Like, that movie I was like, is everyone out to lunch doing that movie? It was weird. Especially coming off the first one. So, like, the reason why I was kind of being a smartass about naming this guy's movies ahead of time, which are clearly movies that are not good, right? At least I would argue that they're not good, is because they all feel like those movies, right? They all feel, like Micah said, they all feel very paint by numbers. You know exactly what's going to happen. There's only one sort of twist, but it doesn't really resonate as a good twist because it's just confusing how it's told initially. And I was just like, I leaned over to him. I was like, remind me to mention how this doesn't make any sense to you. And then it was like, oh, okay, that's the twist. I was like, but that's not what a good twist is. A twist is you think this thing, not like that doesn't make sense and then haha, we explain it. Like, that's not a good twist. It just seems like bad writing in the beginning. So you just think it's bad writing for 90% of the movie. And then you're like, oh, it's just subpar writing. Like, oh, got it. Oh, you tricked me. You know, like, it doesn't work. There's some things obviously I don't want to go over because they're kind of spoilery things, and I'll save that for a spoiler review. But some things you and I talked about offline, like, there's way too much slow motion in this. Like, there's way too much. And
yeah, Zack Snyder's influence is still there. It's still in the DCEU. It's still there. This looks like a Zack Snyder movie. This looks like
just brighter. Okay, it's just brighter. That's all.
It's brighter. Yeah, it's brighter, but it's still oversaturated in points. It still has tremendous. It has speed ramping. It has whole scenes that are full of slowdown that don't need to be whole scenes. You don't need a 3-minute scene in slow motion. 3 minutes in slow motion. You don't need that. That's
right.
That's just,
yeah. I mean, it's like we had talked about, like, there are other movies in this superhero, like in the superhero general genre, which I don't think is like a real genre, but like as an overarching thing, that have slow motion in them, that use them in, like, to make sort of a splash page kind of moment. That's like for a second and then you move on. That all makes sense. I don't have a problem with that. It's when you take a scene that should have been pull back, watch this guy be a badass action sequence, but you literally slowed it down for 3 minutes. It was like, okay, this is it felt like the really terrible, in my opinion. For some people, for some reason, they love it. But it's just like the Quicksilver scenes in the X-Men movies, where everyone was like, that was amazing. I was like, I did not think that was amazing at all, right? I felt it really annoying.
And at least those scenes were pulled back a bit. Like you said, there's a slow motion scene in here where it's totally a Rock's head on screen for a number of, like, what are we doing?
Yeah.
What are we?
So, like, I didn't like that. The movie does a lot of it does a lot of heavy lifting of aping things that you've seen. Right? Everyone says, "Oh, well, the scene with the jets that looks like Iron Man." That's actually not even in the film.
Yeah.
But there's a number of scenes I was like Leonardo DiCaprio, like, that's it. I've seen that. So, like, there's a lot of that, and you can tell where they influence things. It looks like they watched maybe 4 or 5 Marvel movies, a couple of other, like, sort of classic action adventure movies, and then it's just like, let's copy that, that worked there, that worked there, and then just like plug it in, right? Like, and not that copying things doesn't happen in these movies. Of course it happens, but it's egregious. Like there's some things you're like, yeah, clearly you watch that movie at that exact moment that you're copying this kind of thing. Like it felt very weird to me.
And that's something that, I mean, I don't want to sit here and just shit on like the entire like $7 Productions like movie slate, but that is something that I have seen in other movies that are produced by these people. It's art by algorithm, and it is you okay. Let's take the highest grossing comic book movies and take bits of that from this. They did the same thing with Red Notice. Red Notice was art by algorithm. Yeah. Hey, let's get super popular star The Rock, super popular star Ryan Reynolds, super popular star Gal Gadot. Let's put them in this very like paint by numbers movie and profit, right? Like it's how a machine would develop art. And
it's like you feed in like Netflix The Rock action movie into AI and be like, find me 2 other actors, write me a story. Like that's what it feels like. That's what it feels like.
And I mean, look, apparently it works, but it doesn't work on me. I don't like that.
No, and it's, you had mentioned early on that the movie sort of insults the audience. And one of the ways it does that, and you're absolutely right, is it takes 10, maybe almost 15 minutes in the beginning of the movie and does nothing but an exposition dump. Like that's all it is. It's just like, then this happened. And there's literally a voiceover of like, and then this happened. And then this, and you're like watching, I'm like, we're watching the movie. Like just show it. Don't tell us, just show it. Right.
Imagine the Star Wars crawl, right? But being told to you because you're too stupid to read, and have it be told to you for 10 minutes.
Right. Like I got it. Like I got it. And then he shows up and then this, and then I'm like, okay, like show, don't tell. That's the medium here. So like the exposition dumping in the beginning is really bad. And then you and I talked about this offline. Like you get an exposition dump at the beginning of Act 2 and the beginning of Act 3 as well. Like, which is really obnoxious, right? Like, are you still caught up? And I'm like, yeah, I'm watching it. Like, it's fine. Yeah. Thank you. The other things, they took no time to actually nail the character of Black Adam in this movie. They just put The Rock in the suit and said he is Black Adam. Like, there's no exploration into what that character is. And like, what is interesting about that character? Frankly, he's not interesting. And he should be interesting, right? Like, and I don't even think that's like an acting issue. Like, oh, The Rock just sucks at acting that he couldn't do it. No, the script doesn't even call for it, right? Like, it just never calls for it. And this is a thing, and this starts to sort of border on spoiler territory, so I'm going to keep it super light here. Stop using the word anti-hero. He's not a bad guy at all. He's not a bad guy at all in the movie. He isn't. There's like a misunderstanding, really. And that's the only kind of moment you go, well, is he? No. Everyone he kills, like, that's a big thing. The Rock kills people in this movie. Oh, my God. They're all bad guys. For him to be an anti-hero, he has to do things that are anti-heroic. He doesn't. He doesn't.
And the thing is, in the DCEU, everyone has killed bad guys. Wonder Woman has killed bad guys. Superman has killed a bad guy.
Yeah.
Batman has killed bad guys.
Like a lot.
So, yeah. So I think they started saying anti-hero because he was saying hero at first, right? Mm-hmm. He was saying hero. And then the collective internet was like, Black Adam's a villain. Like he's a Shazam villain, right? Like, and then he started saying, well, anti-hero. Like, all right, whatever, right? Whatever. But
he's not a villain. He's not an anti-hero at all. It's not.
Yeah.
It like the structure of the story is quite literally he's just a guy who doesn't like the label hero, which sucks to watch. That sucks. It just sucks. Like, so I'm not I'm not a fan of. I'm not a fan of what they did, and there's something that they do to one character in this movie. People are gonna get so mad. Good luck, DC, because you're gonna piss a lot of people off. I thought this was a mediocre attempt at a property that should have never been handled in the way that it was.
There's one character that has what I call a reverse character arc, where this character is literally like, at the beginning of the movie, violence is not the way. And at the end of the movie, well, his brand of violent justice is okay because you heroes don't do what he does.
Yeah, that was a bit weird. Yeah, like, yeah, okay. There's, and look, this is my last point here. This also happened in Wonder Woman 84, which I did not care for as well. Stop trying to make these movies have a commentary about the machinations and the happenings of geopolitics. You're not ready for that conversation. This movie is way too dumb, and when you try, it's really bad. It's it's offensively bad. I'm like, just stop. Look, this happens in a fake place. Like, this is not, it's not required for you to like try to deal with it. It's not like, oh, this takes place in Palestine. Like, it doesn't. It's a made up place. Just fucking leave it alone. Just leave it alone. Please stop. Don't worry about geopolitics. You're bad at this. So
there's a certain level of skill that has to be on the page if you're going to tackle such issues. And with dialogue like, we're the Justice Society, we don't need passports, and heroes don't kill people. Well, I do. That's not.
Now let me tell you about colonizing the Middle East for oil.
Right.
Like, please don't.
Right.
Please don't tell me anything. So yeah, it's not a good look. It's not a good look. So just stay away from it. It's okay. Just don't. But yeah, look, we'll get into a little bit more in the spoiler review, spoiler heavy review. But all in all, I thought very, very, very mediocre. And I hate to say this, because this will probably disappoint a lot of people. Turns out, guys, the hierarchy of power in the DC universe didn't actually change at all. Turns out the biggest pop in our audience was for someone who already is there. So
the biggest pop in our audience. So we went to a critics screening, and critics, they run the gamut from super serious to people who have nerd websites in their and broadcast in their basements.
I'm in my basement. Jesus.
And we've been to a couple of these before, and they've been like rowdy and raucous, especially for like,
absolutely.
It was like listening to a church sermon. Not even. It was like listening to like a Catholic church sermon, right? It was like, you just better sit there and you better listen. And the biggest reaction came in the mid-credit scene.
Yep.
And that is very, very telling.
Mm-hmm.
So look, it's fine. If you are curious about this movie, to steal another show's rating system, it's a light matinee.
Jesus.
But if you had apprehensions about this movie, you can wait for Netflix. This is a Netflix movie.
Yeah. For me, my recommendation is just wait for streaming. HBO Max or whatever. Yeah, just wait for streaming. Not worth it. Is it worth trying to possibly getting COVID? Nah, I don't think so. I wouldn't risk that. I'm mad at myself for doing that. All right, that's it for us. We will see you guys next time for the spoiler review for Black Adam.
See ya.